big question, well no, it's not actually, nobody really cares about it, but I really care about it because I'm quite a sad person, is who is going to be the 45th President of the United States of America? That's quite a big question, and it largely depends on how the next 4 years of Barack Obama's presidency pan out. They're likely to be relatively successful, and I think I would be willing to bet money that the next president will be a Democrat as well, which would be quite a significant achievement. Last time there was 3 terms of a presidency held by one party was Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr., and that was nearly 30 years ago, so it's quite impressive if there is another one. And obviously the main name that is batted around a lot at the moment is that of Hillary Clinton, but I don't really see why she would want to run to be president, because she will be nearly 70 the next presidential election. She'd have had 4 years as Secretary of State, 8 years as First Lady, and another 8 years as a Senator. So she's been in the front line of politics constantly for the past 20 years, so I don't really see why she would want any more of that. I think that she is genuinely being sincere when she says that she wants to run charities and be a philanthropist rather than a politician. In which case there are several other important names being featured and being sort of mentioned amongst political circles, but not much in the mainstream of the media. They include the Governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley, who is quite likely that he will want to at least run to be president, a very ambitious man. The Senator from New York, who succeeded Hillary Clinton 4 years ago, Kirsten Gillibrand, is another favourite because she is not only popular with the more moderate Democrats, but also with more conservative Democrats and as well more liberal Democrats. So she is acceptable almost across the entire political spectrum in America. Then of course there's Joe Biden, the current Vice President, but he is already quite old, and he would be rather old by the time he were to become president, and I don't really think the Americans want an old president after the relatively youthful Barack Obama. He's not the youngest president ever, but he's not the oldest either. So I don't really think the American public would be in the mood for Joe Biden. And if he did run, he would probably lose if the Republicans had a more moderate candidate. Now, of course, when anybody in Britain mentions the Republican Party, we just think of one person who could possibly be a candidate. Sarah Palin. But of course, that's never going to happen, luckily. The other names, of course, that are being mentioned is Jeb Bush, the other Bush brother, who is actually the more intelligent of the Bush brothers, and the one who a lot of people thought would be president rather than the other one. He is a very strong candidate, and I think if he carries on the path that he is going along, which is a more moderate path, certainly nothing like the extremes of the Tea Party and various other ones of them, if he stays a more moderate path, he could be the next president. Then there's Chris Christie, the extremely large man. He's an extremely large man. If you ever actually see him, he is extremely large. And he is also, for a Republican, relatively good-humoured. So he could, theoretically, be quite a strong candidate in the next election. But he lost some support when he actually came out and supported Barack Obama when there was the flooding last year and the storms last year in his state of New Jersey. Then, of course, there are the other ones, the ones who are possible dark horse candidates in the next election. They include Condoleezza Rice, former Republican Secretary of State, who is relatively acceptable to both of the dominant wings of the American political spectrum, liberals and conservatives. I think that's unlikely. I think the main choice is that the essential thing that a lot of people are going to say, but I think is essentially true, is that if Hillary Clinton decides she wants to be president, she will be president. She has a lot of money, she has a lot of support, and she is a credible candidate. She is probably amongst the senior members of Barack Obama's administration, those who are most acceptable to those more conservative, not Tea Party conservative, but moderate conservative parts of the American political spectrum. I think that if she runs, she will win. The question is whether she will be re-elected in 2020, but I might be dead by then, so it doesn't really matter.